Hi, Richard Roberts here from the village of Venetia. Honorary Mayor, good to have you with us this good morning. Mr. Rogers, who normally begins with "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood," and it is always a beautiful day in the village of Venetia. A little bit of first snowfall this morning. If you had that at your house, no school delays yet, but I'm sure we've got some of those coming up later on during the winter time. But that first snow always gets you kind of prepared for the holidays. And we want to help prepare you for the holidays with our annual Light Up Night at the village of Venetia. Now that happens 2 days before. It happens here at the library, which is a great event. If you haven't been to that, I think that's December the 2nd. The Light Up Night right there at the library, and it's a great event of lights and crafts and food. And but 2 days before that, down in the village, if you haven't been there so far, we're kind of a village of all seasons. In other words, back in the fall of this year, we had our fall festival, and it was a great time. Had some crafters down there, about 30 crafters, and had some good food. We raised enough money from that fundraiser to fill over 100 flood buckets. And what those are, that's kind of a recipe that we have from the United Methodist Committee on Relief, UMCOR. And these flood buckets are in 5-gallon buckets, and later on maybe I'll get the recipe for those buckets to Kelsey at some time, and she can give you that recipe on the air. But these 5-gallon buckets full of cleaning supplies that are sent all across the country to natural disasters, and we've had our share of natural disasters this spring and fall and summer, and now the first winter snowfall of the season, plus the wildfires that are going on in California anyway. So there's been a great need for these flood disaster buckets. They cost about $60 to $75 to fill, and but anyway, we were able to raise enough money to fill about 100 of these and send them to our warehouses across the country. And then they'll go to the places where they need them, whether it's a hurricane or a flood or other natural disaster. Also with health kits, we make those, and school kits too. Again, maybe by the time you see this, we'll have a recipe that you can put on the air at the same time. And you can fill those and bring them to Wright's Church there in the village of Venetia. We're right there at 788 Venetia Road. Right there at the center of the village, right beside the old schoolhouse there. That's now the Venetia Heritage Society, and with the baseball fields and the soccer fields. And we're excited to be a village. If you remember, the colonial definition of a village is that you have to have a church, you have to have a school, a restaurant, a pub of some kind, and a store. And we've got all of those in our village, so we would fulfill what is called an actual village in America. So come on out and see us one of these times. Before we go any further, I just want to say some condolences to the family of Irma Grego. She got me involved here with even doing these TV spots when I first moved to Peters Township 5 years ago. Senior Perspectives. We did a couple shows together, and she is just absolutely lovely. And she's going to be missed by the Peters Township community. She was involved in so many things, even in her senior moments here. And so she'll be missed greatly. Just our sympathies out to the Grego family. Let me give you an update then on for our fundraising that we did for Trunk or Treat. That was another fall activity we had in the village before we get to our Christmas activities. Trunk or Treat was the Sunday before Halloween. That's a traditional thing we do there in the village. We had, maybe about 25, 30 cars there, about 75 folks. And we raised enough money to pack 180 shoe boxes that go along with Franklin Graham's Operation Christmas Child. And those shoe boxes then at a packing party, and so we involve youth and children and adults of all ages, and it's just a great time. Anyway, that's the primary focus of what we do at Wright's United Methodist Church there in the village is a mission work, whether it's local or international, across the country in America. and we're honored and blessed to be able to do that. So let me tell you about the events that are coming up here very, very soon. November the 30th is our Light Up Night. This is the 5th year we've had it, and we light there right at the village, right behind where I live, the tallest Christmas tree in Washington County. There are 5,000 lights on that tree. As of last year, we hope to put another 500 on by the time of November the 30th comes around. And it's lit every night then from November the 30th all the way up until the Epiphany, which is Orthodox Christmas in the middle of January. And so if you see those the bright lights, that huge 40-foot tree in the village, that's what the lighting up the village of Venetia is all about. So that'll happen November the 30th. And we're going to start at 6:30. Events that will run that night from 6:30 to 8:30. The Redbird Appalachian Craft Fair will be there. Now, you've seen lots of signs around Venetia, around Peters Township, even ads on the radio for craft fairs in different places. This is Redbird Mission in Beverly, Kentucky. Beverly, Kentucky is the poorest county in the United States. These local craftsmen there in Beverly make these crafts. They're all homemade. They're all mostly of wood. There's some handmade candles there. They put them on a truck and they bring them around to certain areas. And they've been coming to the village of Venetia now. This will be the 4th year for them. And the money raised from selling these crafts are given back to those local crafters. And some of these folks, this is the only income that they have. And then it's also a portion is given to the mission that continues to run in Beverly, Kentucky, i.e. a school there, a clothes closet, food kitchen, and a local dispensary. Healthcare is very marginal in that part of rural Kentucky, and so they count on funds from these Appalachian craft fairs from Redbird to support the medical mission that is down there 24/7, 365 days a year, right there in Beverly, Kentucky. So they'll be there, the Appalachian Craft Fair. That'll be Friday and Saturday, starting at Friday at 6:30. And also the DARE model train display. If you haven't seen that, that's on the 3rd floor of the old Venetia School, the Venetia Heritage Center. And it takes the whole floor up there. There's, 4 different rooms. I was over there yesterday, and they have a new display up, and they're focusing on the Polar Express. If you remember that movie from a number of years ago, they've got 4 different Polar Express tracks up there with trains on it, different gauge, G gauge and HO gauge and O gauge, if you know those gauges. But I can speak to you about Lionel trains. If you had one of those or your grandparents had, it's just a wonderful train display, and they work on them year-round. It's part of the DARE program. Retired Officer Dave Stanton is a part of that from Peters Township, and that continues to go on every week. They're working on building the tracks, the layouts, painting scenery, and it's just a great time to be a part of. So that'll be also opening up on Friday for the Christmas Polar Express display. Friday the 30th at 6:30, and that'll run Friday night and also during the day on Saturday. To begin to throw the switch for that largest Christmas tree, we're asking, we want to celebrate all of our first responders. This has been a really challenging year for our fire and police and EMS and all those first responders in this area. And certainly we want to celebrate them. And we're inviting them to come out on Friday night and help throw the switch for that largest Christmas tree, and just come and enjoy there. Bring their families, and it's a night out that you can just enjoy. And also on Saturday morning, we've got a pancake breakfast that we want to feature them in particular, just celebrate. If you're an EMS, if you're a first responder in any way, fire, police, ambulance, we want to treat you to breakfast. And so come on and bring your family. Yours is free, is on the house, pancakes and sausage. And there'll be crafts to do on both Friday night and on Saturday morning for the children. Sponsored by the Girl Scouts, the Cadet Girl Scout Troop 52499. We'll be doing games for the kids, and so there'll be lots of events for all ages. On Friday night, everything begins at 6:30. We light the tree, and then all the fun begins with the trains upstairs, the craft show going on. You can walk throughout the campus there. We'll have campfires situated in safe areas. Gather around a campfire. We've got s'mores there for you. Come and have a s'more. Hot chocolate at the Parsons house there, right below the deck. That's one of the gathering spots. And come and just enjoy that. There's also other food there, walking tacos and hot dogs hot off the grill, and ham barbecue served in the basement of the church. So lots of different kind of food that you can be a part of. At 7:30, we're going to bring back our live bluegrass Christmas show that we didn't do last year because we focused on another event. But we had so many requests to bring back the Christmas bluegrass music, and so it'll be like Christmas at the Grand Ole Opry. If you're too young to understand that, ask your grandparents or ask folks in their 50s what it's all about at the Grand Ole Opry. But we'll just have some great music and entertainment right there in the historic Wrights Church. That'll start at 7:30, run to about 8:30. So get all that food in and all the fun and doing everything from 6:30 to 7:30, and come join us for that concert. I think we're also going to show the Polar Express movie over there next door, where the trains are in the Venetia Heritage Center. And so, send the kids over there to watch the movie if you don't think they'd enjoy listening to some country music. And it'll be fun. While you're touring all of that, in the church itself, Historic Wrights Church, will have a nativity display. Last year, I think we were up to 55 nativity sets from all around the world. One in particular that's close to my heart is a bishop from Indonesia, or from the Philippines actually, was visiting and gave me a carved set, and that's one of the sets that'll be on display from nativities from around the world. In the historic Wrights space there. On Saturday, like I said, all those activities on Friday night. Saturday begins with a pancake breakfast at 9 o'clock. Pancakes, fresh sausage from Cheplick's. Again, it's free for all of our first responders and emergency personnel. The trains will be going again next door. Redbird will be there next door. And also, I think the Peters Township Girl Scout will have a service event also. So if you're part of the Peters Township Girl Scout organization, they'll be doing an event on Saturday. And so ask your scout leaders about that. All the activities that go on throughout the weekend are all mission-based. Again, they're all nonprofit. One of the folks that is going to share with us for the first time is residents of Nottingham Township. They have their own sheep and llamas, and it's called Wool Works. And our friends there at the church, she's going to be, they shear their own sheep and llamas, and now she's spinning them into yarn. And it's really cool. I saw it back at the craft fair back in August and couldn't believe it. And it was just multicolored, and as it was spun and it was on a spool, I thought it was something that you bought in the store. And she said, no, I did that by hand. And I was like, man, oh man. So come out and see that pure wool spinning on a antique spinning wheel. And that'll be a part of Friday night too. The events of that weekend, normally on that Sunday, we would be with Soup and Stroll over there at the historic Wright House, one of the oldest structures in Peters Township. But this year they've moved the Soup and Stroll to December the 9th, the following Sunday, because of the Steeler game. And we want to certainly support those Steelers. They've been doing such a... In fact, I had a chance to go to my very first Steeler game, and I grew up in Pittsburgh. 3 weeks ago when we played the Cleveland Browns. Gosh, it was like 12 rows off the field. It was fantastic. So thanks to my friends out there in Peters Township that made it possible for Pastor to get there. But that's on December the 9th from 12 to 5. Soup and Stroll. That's the really only big fundraiser that they do over there at the historic Wright House. If you haven't been there, the house will be open that day. and you can see, plus the cabin up in the back, which goes back to 1774. Again, this is before the Revolution. So that log cabin up there, they'll have a fire going. They'll normally have some historic figures up there. I think a year ago I was up there, and gosh, George Washington was right by the fire, and he looked pretty good for as old as he is, and folks portraying those characters. And so so come on out, go to that website for the Historic Wright House, Peters Creek Historic Association, and they can get you set up with that. Other events that are going on that you can come and be a part of. You don't have to just pop in on that first weekend of December, but anytime during December. Hanging of the Green service, that's at 9:30, December the 2nd, to begin our time of celebrating all these symbols of the season that are right before us for Advent and for Christmas. That's at 9:30. If you ever been to the Winter Garden at PPG Place in downtown, if you haven't been, go with us on December the 15th. That's a Saturday. If you ever wanted to sing on stage at the Winter Garden, come go with us. And we'll sing for about an hour and a half down there. And it's just a great tradition. I've taken my kids since they were small. And so for 20 years, we've been going to the PPG Winter Garden and taking a youth choir, children's choir, and bluegrass band. And so we're doing that again also on December the 15th. If you have no Christmas Eve service to go to, we invite you to come to ours. That's Christmas Eve on the 24th at 7 o'clock right there at Historic Wrights Church. It ends with candlelight communion. And again, I think last year, we had a little bit of snow falling right at the very same time. And so it just makes just for a wonderful Christmas Eve season and service there. So for all those events that are coming up, invite you to come and be a part of them. It starts on November the 30th at 6:30. And then 6:30 to 8:30 Friday night. It starts again on Saturday morning from like 9 o'clock in the morning with pancakes and sausage, and goes to 2 o'clock. The trains will be there. Redbird Mission will be there. And we are trying to contact some other craft folks that are all mission-based to come and be a part of that too. So just stay tuned to our website. That's WrightsUMC, I think it's .com, I think. Just stay in touch with that, or go to our Facebook page and see if we update to have more crafters coming in. We can't compete, no compete clause with the folks that are coming up from Beverly, Kentucky, because they really need to make those funds to sustain themselves in their humble homes in Appalachia. And so we can't sell anything that these folks would already be making. If you've had a chance to go to any of the other events in the village of Venetia, they've been fun. We had summertime was a great time. We every Wednesday in the summertime we have concerts that are live. The ladies of the church cook a meal. And in fact, I got to cook barbecue last year on a Wednesday and cooked it around the grill. If you ever had Carolina barbecue, I've got the recipe for that, and I thought I did pretty well with that too. But we had the folks from St. Benedict's, the Abbey Players came and presented Godspell for us on one of those Wednesday afternoons, and it was just wonderful. In fact, they've got some programs coming up. I think Moulin is showing right now by the Abbey Players for this. This would be the weekend before Thanksgiving. If the show is going to air after that, just go to Abbey Players, go to their Facebook page and see all the performances that they do. Laura and her staff just do just some tremendous things. They did some Hamilton stuff back in the summertime in cooperation with the library over there in the new amphitheater. We've done excerpts from Hamilton in the village of Venetia. How historic that is. Getting our foundation in 1774 before the Revolution. Hamilton, that's his era. And so we've done that, and we'll probably bring out some more of the music this summer. What we do is we kind of put it all in the perspective of the narrative, what was going on in 1774 here in Peters, that was still in Virginia at that time, in retrospect with what was going on in Washington and New York, and with our newfound government for the revolution that was to come. So we've done those kind of things. At Easter, we're out at Mingo Park, up at the observatory, from the tallest Christmas tree in Washington County to the highest points in the observatory in Mingo Park for Easter sunrise. We are a village of all seasons, and in Venetia. Haven't been to the country store lately. I invite you to go over there. Place is packed. If you go by there at breakfast time, starting about 6 o'clock on for the rest of the day, they've got their own full-time cook over there now. And I don't think they cook breakfast on Mondays, but or Sundays, but I believe the rest of the week, Tuesday through Saturday, it's a great menu, and you may stand in line over there at the country store. They just got some good food going on over there, and then plus the fellowship and the coffee is just so fun also. Part of our Christmas in the village of Venetia, we're going to support Rachel's Challenge too. The Christmas trees that we'll have over in the church will be part of the paper chains that I know folks from the school district here are making. Our folks at our children in the church are making too, and what that means to be a chain for change. So we'll have a paper chain going from the church to the parson's house, all the way over to the school building, and be around one of the trees over there inside the building. So that's going to be something to kind of maneuver at the same time, but we're looking forward to that. Start your chain at home, of positive words of enthusiasm and encouragement that you can record, staple them together, and make that chain, and come and bring your part if you don't have it at home, and you could be a part of the Village Venetia as we try to go from building to building there in thought and in prayer for our community, which is what we all need to be thinking about too. Yesterday, I had a chance to go through Shadyside. And on my way through Shadyside, the way I went was through Squirrel Hill District, and went right past the Tree of Life synagogue over there. And still on the sidewalk were barriers there. There were no people outside, but still barriers there, and flowers that are still close by for folks. We remember the 17 that lost their lives there in that tragedy there. And our hearts and prayers go out to that community too. And to help kind of bring folks together to say thank you for keeping us safe. Again, our first responders in Peters Township, we want to celebrate them and want them to come and be a part of our Light Up Night weekend, November the 30th and December the 1st. Have you been a part of any of the sports action in Peters Township through this fall? It's fun. We've been there, and for the first time to some of the football games, because we've got one of our folks at the house plays in the band, in the marching band, the Mighty Peter Indian Marching Band, I think is what they call themselves in it. The Mighty Indians or Warriors or something like that, but it's great. And if you've had a chance to be a part of that, it's just really fantastic. So our congratulations out there to the coaches and the coaching staff, the players, the cheer and majorette squad, the marching band, and all those parents and volunteers, boosters that kind of help that program run. By the time you see this, we don't know. Hopefully, maybe we'll be in the state champs by that time, or the playoffs. But if you've been following them all along, you had a chance to maybe go to some of the home games when it was still kind of warmer weather. And if you haven't had a chance to do that, I encourage you to go to maybe one of the playoff games that they play them in neutral fields. I don't remember doing that when I was growing up, but that's what they do now. So everybody, you have to bring your own fan base. And if you haven't seen them so far, come on out. There's a movie out that's been out a few years ago. Came out in about 2006. And then became a TV series. It's called Friday Night Lights. They do this on the way they feature high school football now on most of the local channels. They call it Friday Night Lights or Friday Night this. But it came from that movie out in 2006. I think every player, every coach, every fan or family needs to watch this movie, Friday Night Lights, at the beginning of the season. If you play baseball, you need to watch like Field of Dreams. I do at the beginning of every baseball season. And even basketball, you need to see that movie Hoosiers. That's about a basketball movie about Indiana back in the 50s. Well, anyway, if you haven't seen Friday Night Lights, get a chance. I think you got to watch it on Netflix now or buy it in the movie somewhere along the way. It's a story about a football team. The football team from Odessa, Texas. Two towns very close together, Midland and Odessa. They're 10 miles apart. Midland, Texas is a white-collar community. The heads of the big oil companies, Exxon and Mobil, lived in Midland, Texas. And then Odessa, 10 miles away, were the blue-collar folks, working folks, the roughnecks, the pipeline folks that worked out into the fields. So two towns 10 miles apart with two different socioeconomic areas. And the one time the folks from Odessa could really kick the tail of the folks in Midland was in football. And so they put everything they could into their football program, the Odessa Perman High School football team. And in the movie, you get to see this rivalry. The movie is, the coach is Billy Bob Thornton. He was chosen to play the coach. A reporter had gone out to the town of Odessa, Texas, and spent about 6 months there researching his book and wrote that book, Friday Night Lights, that they made the movie out of. I would just want to share one line of that to see what this coach asks of his team is exactly, I think, what we're asked to do as human beings as we embrace each other, not only around the holidays, but all the time. The fateful season began. He told his players, the coach said, by the time we get to the game, you'll be perfect. You understand? You'll be perfect. And so he ran him up and down the field as he would, blocking, tackling dummies, scrimmaging, screaming, yelling, whistling, blowing, ranting, raving, injuries that came during the season. And every time he'd remind them, by the time we get to the game, you'll be perfect. And that game finally came. And very quietly, the coach looked into the faces of all those kids and said, well, I'm about to tell you what perfect is. If 2.5 hours from now you can come back into the dressing room and walk around and look into the face of every member of your team and with love in your heart say to them, I gave you the best I have, you know what perfect is. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and Merry Christmas, and all the holidays that you do celebrate in your family. Be filled with joy and peace. Richard Roberts from the village of Venetia. God bless you.